Hi, heroes. This is Stan Lee coming at you. Want you to know, Marvel has always been and always will be a reflection of the world right outside our window. That world may change and evolve, but the one thing that will never change is the way we tell our stories of heroism. Those stories have room for everyone, regardless of their race, gender, religion, or color of their skin. The only things we don't have room for are hatred, intolerance, and bigotry. That man next to you, he's your brother. That woman over there, she's your sister. And that kid walking by, hey, who knows? He may have the proportionate strength of a spider. We're all part of one big family, the human family, and we all come together in the body of Marvel. And you're part of that family. You're part of the Marvel universe that moves ever upward and onward to greater glory. In other words, Excelsior!
This week on the show.
Good morning, scallywags. Is it a good morning?
I don't know. It's
a very surreal morning.
Yeah.
Of course, it's been a few days now, but of course, by now I'm
been
sure,
a week.
right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've all heard by now, but the legend, the man,
the man,
Stan Lee has passed away. I can't help but remember back in February we actually came close to losing him then, and we actually shot. He was in the hospital and was not doing well, and we actually shot a response just in case. And once it happened, for real, we of course posted our response and were pretty distraught during those videos, and I almost posted the original one that we did, but just the fact that it wasn't real at the time, the emotion just wasn't there, and it didn't feel right to use it, so I didn't use it. But it's for real now.
Yeah, it's definitely for real now. It's still, even a week now, it's still very raw.
Yeah.
You can't replace somebody like Stan Lee.
No.
There's no way you can replace Stan Lee.
And it's so obvious too. I mean, just how much of an impact this man made. I mean, you can't turn your head without, seeing 15 videos and just posted all over the place. Just
Twitter trending on last Monday on Twitter was #Excelsior.
Yeah.
So it's going to be our first hashtag today is #Excelsior.
And of course, like pretty much every YouTube channel out there has been, posting their memorial videos and in remembrance, and just their all sorts of stuff, just honorary type videos. So this week, every day this week is a Stan Lee day. So including Wednesday, we're doing something different for Wednesday. It's going to be weird.
But I mean, it's appropriate because anytime you lose somebody like this, which was an icon to not only our generation but generations before. I mean, the man helped usher in the Silver Age of comics. Yeah. Created icons, across the spectrum, and now even across medias. Yeah. Now in film and print and comics and video games and television.
Streaming service.
Yes.
I mean, pretty much if there's a media for it out there. I mean, radio, is there a Stan Lee in radio somewhere?
I don't know. I mean, the radio was kind of an in-between media before.
Well, actually, you and I were at the record store the other day, and we actually saw there was a Marvel Comics inspired record
Yeah.
I actually have a
vinyl
record,
record.
or I did when I was a child. I had a double-sided A and B 45
Yeah.
of Spider-Man versus Mysterio and Spider-Man versus the Man-Wolf.
Yeah. And I can remember when I was a kid, and we had this like program that it was one of the highlights of elementary school, where they would send these little catalogs home, and you could order books.
Yeah.
Like special like weekly reader books or whatever, and the books I always loved to get were these read along books where it had like this little plastic 45 album, which was 45 a little bigger than the CD, and you would put the record on the record player,
I remember those.
and you would sit there and read.
I actually have one of those at the house right now. It's a Masters of the Universe one.
Yeah. And I had a bunch of the Spider-Man ones that you would sit there and you could read along in the book
I actually had the Masters Universe one too. That's for a different story.
to the record, and it was a great
I
thing.
missed the button.
Oh well, you missed the button.
I missed a button. That's okay.
But yeah, I mean, literally across, he created characters that transcend and will transcend time.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
It's like I said in my post on that, our kind of response to it, that he's kind of the Stan Lee is to comic books as Johnny Cash is to music. Like, regardless of what kind of comics you like,
Yeah.
regardless of if you're a DC fan, a Marvel fan, Image fan, anything, that you cannot not respect and cherish Stan Lee for just for what he did for the industry, let alone what he did with those
Look,
characters.
he's top 3 comic book creators. Period. Top 3 comic book creators.
Oh gosh. absolutely.
You've got Schuster, Simon Schuster with Superman, Kane with Batman, and you've got Stan Lee with Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. I mean
you throw in Jack Kirby and
throw in Jack Kirby and Herb Timp, and there you go.
Yeah. But
I was just thinking about that. This year we lost 2 Marvel icons. This year
yeah.
we lost Ditka, or not Ditka. I always want to say Steve
Ditko.
Ditko. Steve Ditka is a coach.
Yes.
He was a coach for the Chicago Bears. He's still alive, but yeah, Ditko and now we've lost Stan Lee, and 2 big names in the Marvel industry, and it's. I don't suspect by the time this recording session is over that there's going to be any of us that are going to not be misdeed.
And speaking of which, we got the phones out here. Some of those closest to Stan,
especially in the last few years, have been the characters from the MCU.
Right. And of course, when any celebrity passes away, other celebrities will take to Twitter and Facebook and things and post their response and their condolences and whatnot. So we have here, this is actually coming from BuzzFeed, for just a nod for the article here, but it's 13 responses, and they're all from Marvel actors. Not necessarily MCU. Most of them are MCU, but a couple of the others here. Excuse me, I'm going to get a little more comfy. But
I mean, there's a couple who are over at Fox, but I mean, there's still
Marvel
the Marvel multiverse. Let's put it that way.
So we wanted to share these with you as well. First one being from Captain America himself, from Chris Evans. On Twitter, he said, "There will never be another Stan Lee. For decades, he provided both young and old with adventure, escape, comfort, confidence, inspiration, strength, friendship, and joy. He exuded love and kindness, and will leave an incredible mark on so many lives. Excelsior."
Yes.
And of course, you're going to hear that word
over and over again. The next one is from Tom Holland, and if you don't think something's fishy, go look at a picture of young Stan Lee and Tom Holland. In fact, El Chappo posted it to the Facebook page, and we'll go ahead and repost it to the show's page.
And in fact, you've probably seen it.
You've probably seen it.
In fact, here you go. Just look at that.
Wow.
Wow.
But Tom Holland is in our opinion the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Today.
He embodies Spider-Man.
So he tweeted out, how many millions of us are indebted to this guy? None more so than me. The father of Marvel has made so many people so incredibly happy. What a life and what a thing to have achieved. Rest in peace, Stan.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah.
And I mean, I can't imagine what's happening over there right now. I mean, it's weird to think back in February that they had said there was something that had come out. I think we might have even mentioned it at the time that they said he had filmed like his next 9 cameos or something like that. But and when you stop and think about that, that doesn't really make sense, because if a movie's not in production, then they haven't scouted locations and stuff like that. Which, I mean, they could do.
Well,
I'm
wondering, blue screen, and I'm wondering if not only did he film certain cameos for things that we're going to go ahead and show on Wednesday, but different movies and video games and stuff like that. I wonder if maybe that was included in it.
Could be,
because a lot of times it was just his voice, and that's all we need you for.
Right, but Kevin Feige has come out and said that. He just recently filmed his, or had anyway, filmed his cameo for Avengers 4, and made the announcement that is the last Stan Lee cameo. And just we talked about it before, and just to really stop and think that very, very soon you're going to go watch an MCU movie, and there not only won't be a cameo, but at the end, and probably on Avengers 4 or maybe even Captain Marvel.
It's probably going to be Captain Marvel.
That the credits are going to either start or stop for Stan.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could be so excited and so happy from the end of a great ending to a great movie, and then as soon as those 2 words appear on screen, it's just going to be not a dry eye in the house.
It was like to coin a phrase, a disturbance in the nerd force on Monday when the announcement was done, and it wasn't like something that is going to come out where generations are going to remember when it happened, like with the shuttle disaster or with 9/11. Where were you at? I mean, I know where I was at, and in fact, I hadn't heard anything about it until Cass texted me, I need you to do some In fact, I'll just pull up her text real quick and show you. She was at school when it happened, and it was really kind of weird to get a text from that. She goes, I need you to do some recon. And I said, okay, roger that. And I said, on what? And she goes, I need you to do recon on Stan Lee. People are saying he died. So immediately I took to Snopes. And the only thing I could find on Snopes was the 2016 hoax. And then Hollywood Reporter came out and posted it. And then 2 minutes later, TMZ came out. And then 5 minutes later, NBC reported it. Then CNN reported. And I said, I'm going to do some more background checking. It says it needs to be true. She used the S word. I said, hang on, something fishy. Only Hollywood Reporter is saying anything. I said, no, it's true. It's all true. And that's when I sent the link to the show chat for everybody to see it.
I was in the middle of editing the blooper reel for last week when I got the message, and I immediately stopped. And I just remember just walking in circles around my living room and dining room, just numb. I had no reaction for a good half hour. Yeah. And then I sent to we have a chat that we communicate with each other during the week, sending ideas, articles, things like that back and forth. And so I sent to that, film a response. So we can post something. And then I went to go film mine, and my voice was so shaky, and it wasn't tears, it was just shock. But I was so shaky and just so I went into a panic almost. But I literally tried shooting that probably 12 times before I got one that I finally used. Just because I would get halfway through it and either just be rambling or not know what to say, or just I would say what I felt, but it sounded stupid, and just I don't know. And I still wasn't happy with what I ended up using. But by that point, I was just like, I'm done.
Yeah, I it was very raw what I shot. I was emotional. I was a wreck. It's a good thing it happened on a day when it was snowing at my work, because that's when I got the news, and nobody was coming in. So I had a good couple hours to where
And Chappo was the lucky one. He got to wait until that evening before he got to
now, of
shoot
course,
his.
though, when I found out, I was at work.
so was I. But you work a little different retail than I do.
Yeah, I work in retail where I have to deal with customers with a smiling face.
In fact, I told you, misty. I'm getting misty-eyed.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it's like I read it and it was like, wait, what? And I looked it up real quick, and it was weird because the first emotion that I felt wasn't sadness; it was rage.
Yeah.
I was so angry that he was dead that I'm just like, God help the first person that mouths off to me, because I'm gonna unload on them.
Like I said, there was just you could audibly hear the collective. If somebody could, they would have heard the audible collective gasp of the world that is fandom.
Speaking of rage, and Twitter posts, you might have also heard about this one by now, but a man named Army Hammer.
Oh God!
Our choice for Superman.
Yeah,
Not so super.
not so super now.
Yeah, not
no,
super right now.
But it's not so much his post that I want to really focus on here, but Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Negan himself.
Thomas Wayne.
Yes,
Thomas
Thomas
Wayne.
Wayne. His response to what Army Hammer said. This is beautiful. I'll be Army.
Okay,
You can
okay. I'll be
or
Army. I'll be Army.
You be Army.
So touched by all the celebrities posting pictures of themselves with Stan Lee. No better way to commemorate an absolute legend than putting up pictures of yourself. God. Douche!
To which Jeffrey Dean Morgan said, "Well, looks like you found a way to use others' ways of mourning and their memories to draw some attention to yourself. You sound like a real asshat."
Yeah. Best tweet is Ryan Reynolds. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, you need to. The show does. At Van City Reynolds. Damn. Rip Stanley. Thanks for everything. And,
Short,
we could
simple.
short, simple, and two that we could go on and on and on.
Winston Duke Mbaku said, "Thank you at The Real Stan Lee. You gave us characters that continue to stand the test of time and evolve with our consciousness. You taught us that there are no limits to our future as long as we have access to our imagination." And then I love this. "Rest in power."
And I think we can end it on Kevin Feige's a tweet. And I honestly, reading it now for probably the 10th or 11th time, I can't think of any other way. And correct me if I'm wrong. That to end the episode.
Sure.
No one has had more of an impact on my career and everything we do at Marvel Studios than Stan Lee. Stan leaves an extraordinary legacy that will outlive us all. Our thoughts are with his daughter, his family, and his millions of fans. Hashtag thank you, Stan. Hashtag Excelsior. Not only did he impact Kevin Feige's career, but I think he impacted far more lives than he could ever imagine. He always said that he loved his fans because they loved him, and we did. We loved you, Stan. We loved you for not only for the characters that you brought in and showed us the vulnerabilities of a superhero, but at least for me growing up, you helped with Spider-Man. You helped some of my issues.
Just so much of what he wrote and so much of just what he says. Just, I mean, in interviews and just everything. Just one of the most uplifting and inspirational human beings ever. And, I mean, it's, of course you get upset when a celebrity that you enjoy passes away. But this, I can think of maybe twice in my life that I've cried at the death of a celebrity, and and this was one of those. It felt like a family member died, and just, but more than that at the same time. I don't know if that makes any. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but just I think of just so many. I mean, look at what the clip we showed at the beginning of this episode. Just things like that, where it's just so deep and inspirational. And I think the most poignant thing, the word excelsior is Latin. It means upward and onward. And that is exactly what his legacy will continue to do, is move upward and onward. So Stan, thank you for everything. Thank you for the inspiration. I made just a little meme that I made it for myself, but and it wasn't anything special. It was just a picture of Stan, and I just added some text to it. But people started sharing the crap out of it, and I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. I mean, you even made it your
I made it my Facebook profile, and it'll be there for the remainder of the month.
But it was just a picture of Stan Lee, and it just says Stan Lee, his birth date and death date. And then it just said, thank you for helping us to believe in heroes. And now I'm starting to get emotional. So
Chappo, parting words?
It's, it's, I don't want to rehash things that I've said, but I know, there's been a big part of the Stan Lee universe that I grew up with. Captain America was my big favorite when I was a kid, and then when I got older, it went from Captain America to the Punisher, and But is this? It's like the video I made about it, that Stan Lee was an icon. It was something. He was somebody that was not only part of our parents' generation, but our kids' generation as well. Like multi-generational. You could have grandparents with their grandkids at a Spider-Man movie, and the grandparents are like, I remember when I bought my first Spider-Man comic.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Like 89,
it's
88, 89.
And then it's kind of funny, Shpoo brought up the Johnny Cash in the video that I made for memorializing Stan Lee. I was talking about how, like, in the music industry, you can never replace somebody like David Bowie or Freddie Mercury. And in the comic book industry, there will never be another Stan Lee.
You think about, the iconic comic book guys, your Jim Lees, your Todd McFarlanes, your Schusters, your whoever. But even like a Bob Kane, the creator of Batman.
Yeah.
But all of these guys, they had Batman. Siegel and Schuster had Superman.
Yeah.
Stan Lee had the Fantastic Four, the Hulk, Spider-Man.
He had a universe.
He built universe.
And that's why there's a post on the Skylab's Facebook page of Stan Lee coming into heaven and God looking down. You're not half bad about creating a universe yourself. And he did. He created a sandbox that we're going to play in until we're dead, and our kids will play in it, and hopefully our grandkids and our great-grandkids will continue playing it.
But we were running long, guys, and we apologize for that. This is going to be kind of a funky week, like we mentioned, and we're actually going to revisit more of a personal side of this on Friday. So stick around for that. In the meantime, we've got some other things we're going to play around with this week that are all Stanley inclusive. So definitely join us all week to honor a great man. Meanwhile, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
YouTube's like, share, comment, and subscribe, guys. Season 2 is about ready to wind up. Just sorry it ends on a little bit of a down note, but next week we'll be back to normal. And while you're on the Facebook page, we do have merch. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but we have shirts for sale. Short sleeves are 20, long sleeves are 22, and hoodies are 25. Got some good things planned, but like I said, I think this week's going to be kind of misty-eyed for the three of us. But thank you for staying with us.
We're going
to try to get it lighthearted.
Yeah.
We are. I think
we do have some of the things we have planned are actually somewhat uplifting.
Yes. It's not all going to be.
You'll get a chuckle out of some of this.
Yes.
So come back and see us tomorrow, and
we'll see you then.
Yep.
Excelsior.
Hey, I was just scrolling through my news feed and take a look at what I just saw.
Oh, a Russian clip of the day.
Он остановился. Кто кому уступает?
Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you liked what you see, go ahead and click on our faces to go ahead and subscribe to get all of our Monday through Friday stuff.
Indeed, and here's a couple of links down below that you can follow to watch more shows like it. Tons of great content right here at Scallywag Productions. We'll see you tomorrow.